Hey, Charles, good morning.
Good morning, Dan. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well.
Yeah, me too.
What's going on?
A little fatigued. I don't know if I have a little bit of a sleep deficit or what's going on, but my energy is a little bit low. Woke up with a little bit of a headache too, and that doesn't usually happen. So any
Oh,
discomfort that I'm not used to, I don't like it.
yeah. Have you been hydrating properly?
No,
Things get a little drier down here.
I'm sure I've not been
I
hydrating
mean,
properly.
I guess I say we're, because here in Florida, when we got the wintertime here, it's a lot less humid than we're used to. And I feel
Yeah.
like, everything for me dries out. My skin dries out real bad. And
Yeah,
I have to
I
up
did
my
have
water a little bit.
I had two nosebleeds this week, and that does happen when I'm constantly when it's either dry
Doing
or
cocaine. I
outside.
gotcha. Yeah.
No, never tried. I hear it's great, but I hear legally prescribed Adderall's even better. No, I've never enjoyed a nosebleed for that reason. Sometimes it's because I blow my nose too hard, but
Enjoyed.
sometimes it's because I blow my nose
Yeah.
too hard. I'm pretty aggressive with the nose blowing, and sometimes it's just because it's dry outside, and then I run my AC all night, and it's dry in here, and this upper area here just gets too dry and says enough's enough. So yeah, but
Yep.
or I'm just falling apart. I don't know. I am getting up there. 45 years old, and which is crazy because I don't. In a lot of ways, I don't feel like a young spring chicken anymore, but I do feel a lot younger than I thought I would feel at 45 when I was like 25. I thought when I was 45, I would really
That's
feel,
a great way of putting it. Me too.
you know what I mean? I thought I would feel like garbage when I was 25 and I was thinking about being 45. I was like, man, everything's going to hurt. I'm going to be tired all the time. And everything doesn't hurt. And I'm not tired all the time. I feel better than I thought I would feel.
Yeah, me too as well. I really, because and part of it was the people that I knew that were 45 were falling apart. And those are the ones that kind of, or the people that you walked around that you saw, those are the people that in my mind, hey, these people must be 45. And those are the ones that kind of stuck in my mind. Meanwhile, the people that were probably 45 and in good shape or looking healthy or young, I never thought of as 45. I didn't, take a poll and find out everybody in my world around me what their age was. So I think the ones that were, that made a mark in a real negative way is probably what stuck in my mind anyway. So count my chickens.
There's a funny meme that went around for a while about the cast of Cheers in like the 80s. And like it's crazy how old, Carla and Sam and Norm and Cliff, it's crazy how young they were, but how old they looked compared to how people look now. You know what I mean? It's like the cast of Cheers in the 80s was like the same age as, I want to say, like the cast of Friends at the end of Friends. And it's like it's crazy how much more beautiful both the men and the women from Friends were than anybody on Cheers.
I mean, I just remember Cliff and Norm on Cheers.
They always look old, right?
They always look like they were in their mid 40s or late or like early 50s,
Exactly.
I mean, honestly, from the first episode, I feel like I was like, these are, but I guess, you know what, if you're hanging out drinking at a bar, you know what, that's probably not too far from the truth. They're probably pretty accurate.
Yeah, I wish I could. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, the difference is Friends hung out at a coffee shop and not at a bar. I wonder if that had anything to do with it.
Holy cow. Okay, so
yeah.
Kelsey Grammer was 27 at the beginning of Cheers. Woody was 24. Diane, who was played by Shelley Long, was 33. Ted Danson's character, Sam, was 35. Carla was 34. Cliff was 35. Rebecca by Kirstie Alley was 36. Lilith was 27. And Norm was 34. And we're like 10 plus years older than the oldest ones of them. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe other people look at them and look at us and think, yeah, those guys look older than them. But I don't.
I've never gotten that though.
I've never gotten that, and I've never thought of myself as being the same age as. I'll never think of myself as the same age as Cliff Clavin. I'll never be old enough to think I'm the same age as that guy.
Yeah.
God, I wonder how old the coach was.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about Coach.
Coach was 58, so at least I feel that. Although he looked like he was in his late 70s,
for sure. Wow.
I did see.
I completely forgot about Coach.
Yeah, he was only on for a year or two, and he died, and that's when he got replaced by Woody.
That's right.
So I saw the new Ant-Man movie last night. We're recording this on Friday, February 17th, and it's out today. But kind of, they did the early release last night, and I saw the trailer for the new Indiana Jones movie, which it does look better than the last Indiana Jones movie. Crystal Skull was pretty crappy in my opinion. But Harrison Ford is now 80 years old, and he was 79 when they shot the movie.
Wow. And
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy to me that you can lead a major blockbuster at 79 years old as a man. I mean, I can't think of any women that are leading movies at 79 years old.
Well, let's be careful. Not everybody can lead a movie at 79.
I mean, I guess a part of it is you have to be in a $1 billion trilogy first, and then you could go back to it, 30, 40 years later.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it didn't hurt that he was in Star Wars either,
That's true. Yeah. That, man, the early 80s for him, holy cow. It's like, let me do an indie movie. Let me do a Star Wars movie. Let me do an Indiana Jones movie. Let me do a Star Wars movie. He just went back and forth between the two. And then he was getting stuff like, The Fugitive and just other, really big, really good movies. I mean, that guy had quite a career. And, he's getting to be quite a grumpy old man, though. It's fun listening to him in interviews where people ask him about Star Wars and he's like, I don't care. I
saw that clip that you had sent out. That's funny.
Yeah. It's good.
Or somebody sent it. Yeah.
All right. So let's see. What's good with you, as they say?
What went well with me? Yeah. So yes. I've been, I made a change to my training routine where I've been focusing a little bit more on cardio and running, trying to drop a couple of pounds. So I've been using the Way Better app to do a 5K training program. It's like 6 weeks, and I've managed to run and it varies the mileage 4 times a week, and you don't have to run very fast, but just the distances anywhere from 1 to 4 miles during this training regimen. So I've been keeping up with that, and I'm pretty happy with that, and I haven't been killing myself. I have a habit of wanting to lift a lot more than do cardio. And sometimes I have to fight myself to not go to the gym and choose. I have to choose one or the other. And sometimes it's a tough pill to swallow to say, all right, I'm not going to go and lift. I'm going to go and run. But I've done it, and I did it this week, and I've kept up with it. So that went well for me, and I'm congratulating myself. I'm patting myself on the back for doing that, to try to celebrate that win, that little tiny habit that I'm building at this point. So
nice.
I
finished my step bet last Friday, Sunday, and won, which is good because I don't like giving away that money.
Nice.
It's tough for me to win those 6 week challenges, because it means I have to go 6 weeks without a multi-day work emergency. 6 weeks without getting sick, 6 weeks without straining, a muscle or something like that. And putting those 6 weeks together is, doesn't always happen for me, but it happened this time. So I used part of my winnings to get the membership for Way Better. So now I'm doing 2 Way Better games, a 5,000 step a day challenge and a 7,500 step a day challenge. And so really I'm just doing a 7,500 step a day challenge, and I get to, if I make that one work, then I win the 5,000 step one for free. So
how many days do you have to do this, and for how many weeks?
It's only 4 days a week for 2 weeks. So, because when you start a new Way Better membership, they like want you to start like real light and then sort of ramp your way up. So, I don't think I'll have any trouble.
Yeah, you want to feel successful. You want to be successful. Exactly. Yeah. No, that's great. That'll be a walk in the park for you.
I think I'll be able to pull it off. I did join it a few days late, so now I have to meet my goal all 4 days in a row.
Time crunch.
Yeah, a little bit. So today it's this week I got to do today, tomorrow, and Sunday, and get my 7,500 steps. But 7,500 that's not a big deal. I can get that just nice. 45 minutes of walking around my neighborhood. Boom, I got it. So I'm not too worried about that. I've zeroed in on my diet a little bit more recently, and I'm happy about that. And I'm seeing it. I'm now weighing in every day, and which is fun because my little, I've got a little Bluetooth scale, and the Bluetooth scale has an app with it, and the app gives you nice little pop up, reminders of how long your streak is of weighing in every day. So that's just one of those little things that certainly helps. Like, oh, you've weighed in 6 days in a row or 7 days in a row or whatever. So, I've got, I do have a goal of wanting to see some improvement before my client's big annual convention is on Memorial Day every year. And so, a couple days ago was the 100-day mark. So I've got 97 days till then, and it's at a nice hotel with a nice pool. And I would like to be well on my way to my skinnier physique. Maybe not showing off my abs quite yet, but it's kind of the official start of summer, and I'm sure it'll be 100 degrees outside, and I'll want to hang out by the pool. So I'm trying to use that countdown calendar on my clock to keep me motivated to eat the right things and watch what's going in me, and watch that number on the scale continue to go down, because as we keep talking about, you can't out train a crappy diet.
Correct. Yeah. Have you thought about tracking it all in any form, such as even just like taking pictures of your food? Have you tried any of that?
I have thought about that. Yes. And
many people have.
I've mostly decided
many people have
it.
Dismissed the thought. Yes, it's tough. So it's not easy.
Yeah, the thing that seems it seems like,
but it does keep you. It does, even if you never use it. Yeah,
it seems like you have two choices from a lot of the material that I've read and watched. Either you've got to track what you eat and keep some track of your calories, your macros, what have not. Or you are just able to manipulate the food that's available to you, and you're only eating things that you're not going to have a tendency to overeat on, and you're not going to get yourself into trouble. And so I'm mostly trying to go that route, where I'm trying to just keep food around me that, nobody's overweight because they're eating too many grapefruits, or they're eating, they're eating too many spinach salads, So now, I'm going to try, I'm aiming for it that way, to keep food around me that, not potato chips, not cookies, not stuff where you lose track of time and oops, I just ate 1,500 calories. How'd that happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely think that works to a point. I think it's very difficult when you are out and about living life, because there's so many opportunities to consume the food that people, comfort food, stuff that everybody enjoys, stuff that you take 2 bites and you've almost met your calories for the day.
That's true. Yeah.
It's tough. So I think I don't want to pop your balloon, but at the same time, I feel like what you just described will work for somebody who is, I don't know, 40 pounds overweight, 30 pounds overweight.
Okay.
You're not even close to that. You are not overweight at all. And you're trying to get to really a really refined level of body fat. And so that's where you're going to be pushing your body out of its own comfort zone, and you're going to need to be very detailed and I think careful with what you're eating. And I think you are at the point where you're going to have to track if you want to make, if you want to see the progress that you're looking for. What got you to where you are is not going to get you to where you want to go.
That's what I was just going to say.
You were overweight when you started this, health journey. You were a lot more overweight. And that got you to this point, and that was great. And that's fantastic. And absolutely, you got to give yourself tons of credit, because a lot of people can't even lose a couple of pounds, keep it off. And you've done that successfully for many years now.
Yeah.
But you're asking your body to do something different now. It's not drop, you don't have excess weight to drop. So you're looking to really get chiseled. So that's where I think, and that's why I mentioned it, is you don't necessarily need to get down to look at the macros and track everything really tightly yet. But okay. I would suggest considering at least taking or having that obligation to take a picture of the food that you're eating. At a minimum, it at least raises your awareness, so that when you are out and about and you aren't surrounded by all the foods that are healthy for you, all the bananas and and oranges and mangoes right. and raw chicken breast, that you take a picture of that crumble cookie, and that you so that way you're eating maybe a quarter of it and not 3/4 of it. And that's where the difference is really going to make. And also, our memories are quick. I mean, you've got a better memory than most, but sometimes I don't remember what I ate yesterday, never mind 5 days ago. And if I had that crumble cookie 5 days ago, I still really shouldn't be having it now, because it's going to blow my calories. So I just the 3 cents of advice that you didn't ask for here, there it is.
No, I appreciate it. And I think, I'm sure you're right that, you can't, the thing that works for you when you're, an older.
And it sucks that's the case, right? It's like, oh, hey, this was successful. Let's hold on to this. Let's do this again.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't just because I was both younger and more overweight, and so now that I'm older and less overweight, it's gonna be harder. Mm-hmm. So gotta be ready for some new methodology, I suppose. Okay, all right, I'll start tracking then.
Speaking of which, that allows you then a lot more choices and excitement for the next chapter of the book that we're going to cover, in terms of the clothes that captivate. Right? Yeah,
this is going to be.
You started to dress a little bit nicer as you started to drop that weight.
Well, one of the benefits of being skinnier is that you get to look better in cheaper, less expensive clothes.
That's interesting. I never thought about that.
That's a nice side benefit of being in, what most people would consider to be at least decent shape. Is, I mean, I think I've mentioned on our podcast before, I get my V-necks and my crew necks I get from this site called jiffyshirts.com, and I buy a brand called Next Level, and they sell for between $4 and $6 a shirt. And if you have a decent shoulder to waist ratio, and you get shirts that fit somewhat tightly around your at least average or better looking arms, you do get that benefit of being able to look better in less expensive clothing. And I believe that's a secret that women have already known about for some time. It's like, if you're tall and skinny, then you get to look good in all the clothes that you see on fashion runways. They look good on you too, but so do the cheap clothes. They everything is pretty much designed for those kinds of bodies. I mean, unless you're shopping at the women's section or a specialty store, it's like they have this idea of what a body is supposed to look like, and so clothes are mostly designed for that ideal body that they have in mind. So now that changes in some areas, especially of men's clothing, which we'll talk about a little bit later, about how the typical clothes that you get in certain departments of a store for men, they're not okay off the rack for hardly anybody. You'll want to look at alterations almost no matter what your body type is. But we'll talk about that in a second. So
yeah, it's interesting. For many years, right? They, for guys, they would design a lot of baggy stuff. I remember like baggy jeans and baggy shirts, and
yep.
kind of hides the idea. I guess kind of hides part of the body a little bit more than it was the case for women for many years.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm not a fan of that. I don't think anybody should wear clothes that are either too tight or too loose. And we could talk about how and why that is. But the chapter opens up with the idea that your clothes are an integral part of the first impression that you make with people, and for a couple of reasons. I mean, one thing I read recently was a guy was asked why he dresses up when he goes out, or why he dresses up, for work or what have not. And I'm a big fan of dressing up one level more formal than the situation you expect to be in, because that is a way that you can communicate high status. And we'll talk about what it means to wear clothes that are considered high status. The chapter opens up with the idea of an airline pilot who wears the pilot's uniform and what that communicates, and different uniforms do communicate different things. I mean, it's not easy to become a pilot. Being a pilot requires an amount of study and skill and practice that when you look at that person, you're like, okay, he's wearing that uniform, so he's accomplished all these steps. And the thing is, as he points out in the chapter, a con man who's wearing the same pilot's uniform is viewed the same way. It's like, I don't have to see you flying the plane in the uniform. I can just see you walking around the airport in the uniform, and I'm going to assume certain things about you. So in some ways, the clothes do make the man, as Mark Twain said. So in a study published in the book Adapting Minds, basically they went to a group of women to find out what reaction women had to men who were wearing clothes that were considered low, medium, or high status. And they asked about, what kind of relationship women would have with men based on whether their clothes were considered low, medium, or high status. And the 6 relationships they asked about were coffee and conversation, a date, just a purely sexual relationship, a serious relationship with marriage potential, sexual and serious relationship with marriage potential, or marriage. And the short answer is high status won every one of the 6 categories. If you wear high status clothes, no matter what kind of relationship you're looking for, women will be more open to that with you than if you were wearing low or medium status clothes. So that begs the question, what is high status clothing?
Great question.
I'll tell you what it's not. It is not clothing with obnoxious logos on it. Like, don't go to the store and buy the most expensive clothes you can find with the biggest logo you can find and think, okay, now people are going to think that I'm high status, because that's not it. In fact, there are women who are very into fashion and know a lot of different clothing brands and labels. But what I find is a lot of the brands that make good quality high-end clothing for men, they're mostly just in the business of making high-end clothing for men. So their brands, like one of my favorite shoe brands is Allen Edmonds. They have a store in most big cities, a single store. We have one in Orlando, there's one in Tampa, and they're always at the fancy mall. And I'll spend $350, $450 on a pair of shoes from Allen Edmonds. And I've got one pair in my closet right now that I've had for, I want to say 16 or 17 years, and they still look, they still look really good. I mean, they're getting to the point where the soles on the bottom are a little thin, but this company, you can send in your shoes to them and they'll resole them for like $100. And you do that once every 10 or 12 years. And so you can, I don't recommend buying shoes like that while you're young enough that your feet are still growing. But once you're kind of in your shoe size, then start buying shoes that you'll never have to replace for the rest of your life. I'm a big fan of that. But anyway, they don't make women's shoes. So,
and what's nice is that, that the thing is with most men's shoes that look good, it's really like there's a timeless look to them. So you don't necessarily need to worry about them going out of style.
No, definitely not. No, a pair of black Oxford, a pair of penny loafers, a pair of brown brogues, or also known as wingtips. I mean, you can literally buy one of those in your 20s by a good manufacturer like Allen Edmonds, like Church's, somebody like that, and you get to wear those for the rest of your life as long as you take care of them and you get them, resold, recobbled as you need to. So, you don't have to worry about the style changing. Now, I've got some other shoes that are more casual that are very stylish. I mean, a few years ago, I had a pair of Yeezys, and I wore them for, 2 years, and then my taste changed and I donated them to Goodwill because I didn't want to wear them anymore. But that's not something, when it comes to formal shoes that you buy at a place like Allen Edmonds or Church's or Alden, you buy them once and you'll be able to look good in them for the rest of your life. They'll always look good with a suit. They'll always look good with khakis and a button down. They'll always look good with a nice pair of jeans. And you literally buy them once and you're set for life. You just have to just keep them maintained. But so, in that case, nobody's going to look down at my feet and say, I mean, it would be very rare unless they work for Allen Edmonds or unless they're a shoe nerd like I am. They're not going to look down and say, ooh, those are nice shoes. Are those Allen Edmonds? No, it doesn't work that way. But they still, because of the condition that I keep them in and the way that I coordinate them with my outfits, they can still say, okay, this is a high status outfit that this guy's wearing. Okay. And we'll talk a little bit about some more of the clothing brands that I find valuable and that I consider to be high status, even though they're not necessarily that expensive or that trendy. So yes, high status means clothes that are in good condition. I recommend dry clean clothes that are supposed to be dry cleaned, and wash your jeans infrequently. You probably don't need to wash your jeans as often as you think you do, and you can keep them looking new longer. But clothes that fit you, clothes that are maintained well, and clothes that are, good quality, but again, not necessarily based on brand name. You can find good quality clothing for not much money at department stores. I wouldn't say discount stores. I never have really seen anything at Walmart that blew me away, and I thought, wow, this is so much higher quality than I expected it to be. It's like, no, the men's clothes at Walmart are pretty much men's clothes at Walmart. Same with H&M can have some interesting, trendy clothes, but the quality's not there. I do most of my clothes shopping, I would say, either online or in stores like Macy's, Dillard's, places like that. Macy's has been my go-to for suits now for a while. They have a couple of the sort of mass-produced men's suits from companies with names you would recognize that still are. They use really good materials and they tailor really well. I'm thinking specifically of the Calvin Klein suits that they sell at Macy's. You can find them on great sales a few times a year, and when you buy one of those and you take it to your tailor, which you should have a tailor, and you can walk out of your tailor's shop with a really good looking suit, and I highly recommend that. So that, again, the easiest way to communicate the high status is to wear clothes that are a little bit more formal than the other guys in the place that you find yourself. So, and now I'll go on a little bit of a rant about one of my least favorite pieces of clothing. In most cases, I hate polo shirts, and here's why. Here's why I hate. This is Charles's opinion, so take it for whatever you value my opinion to be worth. A polo shirt, the thing that most guys love about polo shirts, and that I used to love about polo shirts, was how versatile they are and how many different situations you can wear them in. And that is the exact reason that they are not an attractive option for most of the situations that you would choose to wear them in. By going the easy way and trying to have a garment that you can wear while you're out golfing, that you can wear to a theme park, that you can wear out to dinner with your girlfriend, that you can wear to work, that you can, settling on this, okay, this one thing I can wear to everything. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to fill my closet with polo shirts and just wear them for everything. Then none of those places or experiences that you go to will look or feel special because you're wearing the same thing you wear everywhere else. And so for that reason,
I'm absolutely guilty of that. And I don't know if that came from, working in the IT or growing up working in the IT world, because that was, if you weren't wearing, if you didn't have to wear a shirt and tie, it was the polo shirt. And that's what we got to wear all the time. And so I'm absolutely guilty of that. And still from time to time, I'm guilty of that. But yeah, thank you I never thought about it that way, but you're right. The experiences all kind of get muted and blended in together a lot of times based on what you're wearing. And it makes total sense, because I'm a big believer of prepare yourself mentally for what you're about to do based on as much as possible. And one of the things that I've learned was, if you're going to do so especially, now a lot of us are working from home. I know I'm more productive if I put on a work shirt before I'm meeting with clients, right? Even if I'm not on video, even if it's any kind of work that I need to do, if I'm wearing a t-shirt, if I'm wearing my gym clothes, my mind isn't nearly as sharp, and it's not in the mindset of what I need to do for work. Whereas, if I put on the right shirt. So I definitely see what you're saying. I agree with that for sure. So I think I've got a little challenge to remove the polo shirts from anything other than work. I use them for work and gets me in the mindset for sure when I'm working at home. But I think from now on, my new policy will be no polo shirts out of the house unless I'm going to some sort of client.
Yeah, I own exactly 2 polo shirts right now, and I do just wear them for work. And if I was still playing golf with my friends, I would probably still wear them for golf as well. But for my own standard, those are the only 2 places that I'm cool with wearing a polo shirt. If I'm going to work at a place that is very business casual, where if it's even a little bit more formal, I'm going to go with a button down with either a pair of khakis or a pair of dark jeans. But if it's business casual enough, then I'll do those same jeans and those same khakis with a polo shirt, especially when it gets hot during the summer months here in Florida. I would also recommend, if you are going to do a polo shirt for business purposes, the piqué cotton is a better, though perhaps less comfortable option than any of the synthetic performance style polos, which again, if you're out on a Florida golf course in 100-degree weather, man, by all means, you're going to want to wear one of those, because they are so much more comfortable than just the piqué sort of interlock mesh cotton ones. But the cotton ones do look a lot better in business scenarios, because you can easily throw a casual jacket or blazer over one of them, or even a cardigan or a pullover sweatshirt or sweater. But the Nike Under Armour kind that have, they're stretchy and they have that nice sheen and they're all synthetic. Again, they're super comfortable. I've had them myself, but they do communicate way more golf course than office when you wear them in a professional setting. So again, these are all my opinions, and you guys can discount them or say that they're silly if you want to. I'm just going to keep dressing that way because I like it. The polo brands that I like, or the polo shirt brands that I like, obviously Actual Polo by Ralph Lauren's nice. I like Lacoste, the one with the little alligator. That's a nice one. And Burberry as well. I like Burberry's polos. And again, I even had a couple of the polos from Ralph Lauren, where in Orlando here we have a lot of the polo factory outlets, And some of them you can buy the shirt and then customize them with the size and color logo that you want. And so I would get a navy blue Ralph Lauren polo shirt and get a navy blue logo on it, and get a black shirt with a black logo, because they're not paying me to advertise for their clothing line. So I'm not going to voluntarily put a big logo on or a very brightly colored logo on if I don't have to.
And that, you don't see that every day too. That's different. It's a little bit different too,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
That it blends in, because if you get up close, you'll be like, oh, okay, I see the shirt now. You know, it's not like from across a parking lot, you can see the red logo on the yellow shirt, right?
Right. And again, I think that does communicate, you know, yes, I'm wearing a nice polo shirt that I spent $40, $50, $60, $100 on, but I'm not desperate for you to know that it's a nice polo shirt. I'm wearing the nice polo shirt for me, not for what you'll think of me. And so that is something that, and I'm probably going to be due for another polo shirt or two in the next few months. And I will probably do that same thing again. Now that I'm living here in Kissimmee and there are polo outlets all over the place. I don't know for sure that they still do that, because it's been a few years since I bought one, but I'm sure they probably do. And I'll do the same thing. I'll get a solid color polo shirt with the matching solid color logo. And they can hire me to be a model if they want me to wear their logo, as far as I'm concerned. Another brand that I really like, I don't know if they've changed the stores that sell them recently. Land's End used to only be a catalog store, and then they started selling at Sears, and now I think they're selling at Kohl's. And Land's End makes some pretty decent menswear. At least it used to be decent quality. I can't say how much it is or is not now, but Land's End, Eddie Bauer, J. Crew, I've had good luck with all of those brands, usually just shopping on their website or shopping at the outlet malls and picking up clothes there. There's some good values to be found with those brands. Still, all of my shorts, I believe, that I wear now are J. Crew, and I've had great luck with them. Also, I don't mind Dockers. If you can find, they still make a great pair of khakis, and they sell them on Amazon and in most department stores, and there are good deals to be found there. But let's talk a little bit more about the benefits of dressing up. And again, what I'm talking about is one level more formal than the people you're likely to be around. So if you're going out to dinner on a weekend night, it's such a bummer. And, you and I have talked about this all the time, Dan, and so have us and the Wetterman brothers. This thing we see so frequently where women put all this work into their hair and their makeup and their outfit, and then the guy that they're out with is wearing, a Real Legends fishing shirt and a pair of cargo shorts and a pair of flip-flops. And they're in these women are wearing like a nice cocktail dress, and you could tell they put a lot of time and effort into looking good. And the guys that they're with just look like absolute schlubs. And
so that brings me to an interesting thought here, and I've heard this a few times, is that when women get dressed up, and they are getting dressed for themselves as well as for other women more than they are for men. And thinking through it does line up, because a lot of times I say the average guy, I would say most of them, they don't offer a lot of insight or details in terms of, feedback, good or bad, when a woman asks about, what they're wearing and things like they might, oh, you look good, or, that doesn't really work for you. Other than that, but I feel, women are a little bit more, on the average, a little bit more tuned into fashion, and they're a little bit more interested on the whole about fashion. So I feel like they're the ones who are going to provide a little bit more honest feedback, a little bit more of a higher standard of feedback. And also part of that, why the women are getting dressed up is so that they can feel good about themselves. Yes, they may not match their man or their boyfriend, but I don't know if it's that important to them.
That's a good question. And, it's hard to speak for those women and say, well, here's what is exactly important, that, because they're willing to repeatedly go out with their man
right.
dressed at a level far below them, as far as formality, at least. So
right. It's very common for what we've seen. It's not an exception. It's not like,
and I think Florida may be worse than some other places where, going out in New York or Boston, I don't see it at the same epidemic levels that I see it here in Orlando. But maybe it's a thing that these women have mentioned to their men, and their men have been unwilling to improve or change, and so they're just deciding to pick their battles. Well, I can either stay home with my guy wearing a t-shirt and shorts, or I can go out with him wearing a t-shirt and shorts, and I like going out, so I guess we're going out. I mean, I don't know, but I do know by the surprise and the complimentary feedback we get pretty much every time we go out dressed up. You can't just say that women don't notice how men dress, because in my own personal experience, that's just not true. They notice how I'm dressed, and they say something about why I'm dressed so nicely. They either asking or just flat out complimenting me on how I'm dressed. So you can't just say, "Oh, women don't notice or care how."
All right,
how
hold
men
on.
dress.
I'm not saying no. That's not what I said. I didn't say that they don't care how men dress, but I feel like they're going to get dressed up regardless, right? For themselves when they get dressed up, and the opinions of men for them are not going to be, I think, as important to them. So I feel like they almost discount men's opinion a little bit. And I'd say that they value maybe their own opinion and the opinion of other women when it comes to why they're dressing up. So I guess that doesn't explain, why men necessarily dress down. So I guess that's fair. But yes, they definitely notice fashion. But like you said, I think it's one of those where they're choosing their battles, and I'm sure there's other wonderful things that the guy.
I'm going to push back a little bit.
We don't know about.
I mean, we have heard.
Okay.
That is a common narrative that women, do dress up for themselves and for the other women in their groups and their friends. But, can we really look at 10,000 years of mostly, a patriarchal mating selection system where women have to compete for the men with the most resources or the most ability to gain resources? And so wouldn't we say that makeup and clothing and hair accessories, at least in some part, have developed as a result of?
That's fair.
No, I do want the man who has the most ability to take care of me. I want him to notice me the most, so he picks me over other people.
Ooh, that's great. So yeah, I think you're right. I see that now. I see. Yeah, I guess the overarching theme of what people find attractive is probably coming from men overall. And then I think the details in terms of maybe, what is going to attract men the most, or be the most attractive or most flattering for that woman, maybe that comes from a little bit more of people who are a little bit more fashion aware. So, I mean, obviously it could be, men who work in the fashion industry, things like that, or other women who actually are involved in the day to day to trying to make themselves as attractive as possible. But yeah, so, okay. I can see that. Sure.
Yeah. And I would say that, I'm not a believer that, men should have this mindset that you're constantly in a competition with other men to not have your wife or girlfriend stolen from you because, if some guy is richer than you or better looking than you or wears higher status clothes than you, you're constantly under threat of
or looks like or just looks like he's richer. Right. Just looks like he's richer because he's wearing better clothes, right? Yeah.
I wouldn't say you should go through life constantly worried about that. But look, if the data does say that women regard men wearing higher status clothing as a more attractive option for all 6 of those relationship types, from, coffee and conversation all the way to marriage, if they across the board almost in the survey consider men who wear higher status clothing to be more attractive for all of those types of relationships, then yeah, I would say if you're taking your girl to Mathers every weekend and she's wearing a nice cocktail dress and spending lots of time on her hair and makeup, and you're throwing on, a t-shirt and pair of shorts, and Dan and me and Kurt and Richard are walking in with suits every weekend. When she spends a little time looking at us, you shouldn't be shocked and offended that's what's happening.
And the other thing to think about is that, there are other parts of the relationship going on, right? It may not be just, the fact that you're not dressing well or respectfully or ideally the way she wants. I mean, few people are going to end a relationship based on that. However, the whole point of, this podcast and this book is really to raise your value in the world on many levels. And so this is just one way to raise your value. And so it may not be your way. You might resonate with, deciding you're going to shave your head or let the grays grow out or, maybe, whatever that might be, take a stand-up improv class, improve your conversation skills, things like whatever it might be, whatever resonates with you. This is just another way to help raise the bar.
Right. And I would say that if you like one of the research studies he cites says that basically 3 out of 4 men are chronically underdressed all the time. And, and what does that mean? Well, it means based on this type of event or this type of situation and what we as a society have decided is the optimal way to be dressed, 75% of men are dressing underneath that bar. And so one could say, well, if most guys are dressing this way, then this is the way that guys should dress. It's like, okay, you can hold that opinion if you would like to. But it does provide an opportunity for a guy who's willing to put in a little bit more effort to look a little bit better than his peers in so many situations. You are going to have a bit of a leg up when it comes to making good impressions on, potential mates or potential employers or whatever. And that really can't be overstated that a curated first impression is so much better than a lazy first impression. It's like, decide what you want to put across with your appearance and then put that across, not in an effort to be manipulative, not in an effort to, trick somebody into something. But the problem with showing up constantly underdressed compared to your date or your partner is that communicates, I'm not willing to invest the same level of effort into going out with you as you're willing to go out with me. And that does seem like the kind of thing that can grind on a relationship over time.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. So you've thrown a lot of great suggestions in terms of brands that you like and styles that you like. So you have any recommendations for a guy who basically, is kind of a little overwhelmed by all of these things? Is there an easy shortcut for somebody to take to say, hey, I need to make some changes? Do you have any suggestions on an easy way that somebody can, really start to implement them?
Well, the first thing is, either throw away or donate all the clothes that you currently own that you don't look good in. Because, I mean, there's a good chance that, especially if you don't live in a tiny little camper like I do, you've got clothes in your closet.
How do you know that you don't look good in?
Well, one thing would be because, you've got an old shirt that is either stretched out or has holes in it and you're holding on to it for sentimental reasons or because it's just really comfortable or something like that. Like the no-brainers, you need to get rid of those immediately.
That's easy to figure out. Sure. Yeah.
But a lot of people will keep clothes like that in their closet, even though they know, that they're not a great piece of clothing, but then, they come up on laundry day and the only thing that's clean is this ratty concert t-shirt that they've been holding on to for a long time. And, oh, well, we were planning on just having a night in the house, but then my wife decided that she wanted to go out for dinner, and I haven't done my laundry yet. So the only thing that's clean is this, Dave Matthews t-shirt from 1995. So I'll just throw it on and wear that to Chili's. And so if you throw it away or you donate it, then that's not a risk that you have to take. So I would say, yeah, the stuff that's old and it just doesn't look good and you're just keeping it around for sentimental reasons, you need to get rid of that stuff. The other thing is, if it's way too baggy or way too tight because either you're not the same size you used to be, or you used to, place the only emphasis you placed on your clothes was how comfortable they were and not how well they fit you. You gotta be ready to let some of those clothes go too, because stuff that's too tight or too loose. And look, I made the mistake. I used to wear a lot of Columbia fishing shirts because in Florida, they're very comfortable. They breathe really well. They have that little net vent situation in the back so that when you do occasionally get a breeze in Florida, it goes right through them and it feels so good. And I would wear larges and extra larges because I was a large or extra large around my belly, and I was a small or medium around my shoulders. So as a result, the hem or the seam that goes on the top of your shoulders, it would be halfway down my upper arm because I was buying clothes that fit my belly instead of clothes that fit my shoulder. And so, surprise, I looked like garbage when I wore them because I had a big belly and I had the same size shoulders, and it looked terrible. I looked ridiculous when I would wear those shirts. And so, what should I have done in that situation? Well, number one, I should have cared about the excess belly fat that I was wearing and what it did to both my health and my appearance. But number two is I should have gone to my tailor and I should have said to my tailor, okay, I want to wear shirts that fit me. I don't know if that means I should be buying for the size of my belly or I should be buying for the size of my shoulders. What do you think I should do? And then he would probably tell me, buy the larges or the extra larges that fit your belly and then bring them in here and I will alter them so that they fit your shoulders and your belly. So even if you are overweight and carrying some extra pounds, you can still get clothes and have those clothes fit you the right way to make you look as good as possible and not look lazy like I did. Okay. So
yeah, that's a great tip.
Yeah.
What do you think about going into stores? And I mean, do they still have people who will, competent salespeople in some of these clothing stores who could actually help you pick out clothing that fits you well and that looks good? What are your thoughts these days about that?
If you want to buy clothes that are not super expensive, then you're going to be shopping at department stores like Macy's, like JCPenney, like Kohl's.
Mm-hmm.
And the people working there could have been working at McDonald's last week. They could have been selling extended warranties over the phone last week. It's unlikely that you're going to find a menswear enthusiast working at any of these department stores.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they went through some kind of training, very brief training to explain, what the difference is between a pair of pants and a blazer. But, really your place for knowledge on this stuff is going to be YouTube videos, Reddit threads, podcasts. It's don't take advice. I mean, even a place like Men's Warehouse, geez, I've gone to Men's Warehouse. I bought suits at Men's Warehouse, and the shirt and tie combinations that they put together and suggest that you buy with their shirts or with their suits are just, they're hideous in so many cases. They just put together these shirts and tie combo when you buy a suit there that they recommend that just looks so bad together. I mean, the shirts are crazy colors, the ties are crazy patterns, and they don't match the suits. So it's not good. So I would say, yeah, your friend is going to be YouTube videos with lots of views and lots of thumbs ups, and Reddit threads where, you go to the top posts of all time and look at some of those. It's the information's out there and you can find it, but it's not going to be coming from a salesperson in almost any case. So There's also some good books. I've got a couple books that I've just ordered, and one of them, which it gets into the weeds a little too much, and it covers brands that, most of it, like, I own a couple of nice pieces by a couple of designer brands, but man, like, really nice fancy men's clothes are also really expensive. So I don't recommend going with top brands unless it's something like shoes, because you buy it once and you get to wear it forever. Where even, dress shirts that you would wear with a suit, you're not getting 15 years out of a dress shirt, either because of wear and tear or because of, maybe the style will stay relatively consistent, but you can't keep washing or dry cleaning a men's dress shirt for a decade and expect it to still look good. It just doesn't work that way. Even a man's suit that you buy high quality material and you take care of it really well. Things like the number of buttons or the width of the lapels, stuff like that is going to change over, a 10 or 20 year period. So shoes are really the only thing. Shoes and belts, you can buy them and you can keep them for, I would say, almost forever. You buy something in your 20s and you go with a very timeless style of a belt and pair of shoes, and you could literally wear it 80 years later. I mean, that doesn't happen in a lot of scenarios. But yeah, the good news is, you've got to shop for your own personal style, and you've got to shop for what you think looks good on you, but don't let that become an excuse to be lazy. Well, I think the thing that looks best on me is a tank top and a pair of jean shorts. Well, okay, you might think that looks best on you, but you're wrong. And you need to not just say, I'm going to stick with the thing that's the easiest because I think that looks the best on me. It's like, no, putting effort and dressing in a way that is not uncomfortable, but that is not the absolute most comfortable option is never going to be the best looking option. You can find suits, you can find dress shirts, you can even find things like tuxedos with bow ties and everything that are really quite comfortable to wear. They're just never going to be as comfortable as a tank top and a pair of pajama pants. And they're not supposed to be. So that's okay.
Wait, what? Hey, I've seen some tuxedo pajamas. They look very comfortable.
Okay. I'm sure they do, but and you should wear those not outside of your bedroom. And you'll be fine. So generally speaking, I've
actually seen other people wearing them outside the bedroom.
The thing that will look good on everybody, every man, across pretty much regardless of your height, your weight, your age, your ethnicity, any of those things are going to be suits that you buy and have tailored, dress shirts that you have tailored, and otherwise just really you got to buy tailored clothes and or buy inexpensive clothes, like a suit at JCPenney, or even some suits you can find on Amazon for $200. Certainly for $300 you can get a really nice wool suit. And I do recommend only buy suits that are made out of wool unless you're going to some sort of a costume party. I mean, Dan, when you and I go to the white party or the Hope for the Holidays party, and it's cool to wear a bright red or a bright white suit, then yeah, I'll buy a cheap one for $80 on Amazon, and it's just made out of polyester, and I stay away from open flames, and I wear it for that one event, and I either put it in my closet and save it for next year, or I donate it because I don't want to wear the same thing to two parties 2 years in a row. I just donate it, and then I buy a new $80 suit the following year that's a slightly different style. But yeah, do not be buying polyester suits to wear to church or interviews or formal events. The standard is still wool, and buy suits that are made out of ideally tropical weight wool. Or if you live in a very cold climate, you can go a little heavier than that. But pretty much all guys, regardless of your specific taste or the look that you're trying to pull off or whatever, you're going to look good in a suit. And that's just the way it goes. So just make sure that it's a suit that fits you right. So let's stop there for this week. And I will have much more to say about clothing and what kinds of choices you should be making as far as colors, what kind of clothes to avoid, what some of these benefits are, again, for dressing better, and the instant impact it can have on you both personally and professionally. And then in 1 or 2 episodes, we're also going to start talking a little bit about the relationship between money and status and how they're not as closely related as a lot of guys think that they are. So yeah, that's what we've got coming up in the next few episodes. But I do have lots of opinions when it comes to clothes. And like I say in almost every chapter of this book we're talking about, if everything's working for you great and you're happy with everything and you don't want to change anything, then don't change it because some guy on a podcast told you to. But if you do think that the quality of your social and professional and romantic interactions could be improved, then be open to the idea that the way you dress is one of the ways that you could make that improvement happen.
I mean, just maybe have some casual conversations with some people around you and just see if you can get a little feedback on get some ideas of their thoughts on the way they dress, and kind of just bring it up and see if you can get some subtle feedback to get an idea of what kind of impression you're giving off.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I will mention one other thing that occurred to me last night. I was watching the new Ant-Man movie, and in the beginning there's a scene of him, Paul Rudd's character Scott Lang, going to a movie premiere or some sort of an awards banquet or something, and he's wearing a tuxedo with a bow tie and no waist covering, no cummerbund, and no vest. And here's the good news: wearing a tuxedo with no cummerbund or vest looks good on a very small subset of men, and those are men who have extremely fat, I would say, washboard stomachs. If you've got a stomach where you're walking around with your abs showing, you don't have to wear a vest or a cummerbund with your tuxedo. But if you don't, you do. The whole thing that look is going for with wearing it's to make your legs and your lower body look longer, and the way that you do that is by wearing a cummerbund or a vest, so that the white part of your shirt that shows is only like your from your solar plexus to your neck. That's the part that's supposed to be white. So if you want to really bring attention to your lower abdomen gut area, I'll call it the gut area, because I'm walking around at about 19% body fat, and I still have, especially when I sit, an area down there that I would call a gut. And the best way to bring attention to it is to wear a tuxedo with no waist covering. So if you're Paul Rudd, who's dehydrating himself and getting into shape to be an Ant-Man, or you're Daniel Craig, who looks like Daniel Craig for every Bond movie, then by all means skip it. Otherwise, it is not flattering. It is not flattering. Same is not true for business suits, because business suits are different because you typically will wear them with a necktie, or they have a higher rise on the pants than tuxedo pants often do. So business suits, I'm not saying the same thing. You don't always have to wear a vest with a business suit, but with a tuxedo, you got to cover that lower part of your gut. So again, that just came to my mind while I was watching the movie last night. And I thought, I'm going to mention this on the podcast tomorrow.
Oh yeah, no, that's good. Good tip. Never thought about it that way, but
and if you're not wearing tuxedos very often, you need to make better life choices. It's awesome. Wearing tuxedos is the best. Okay. Anything else, Dan?
No, not for this episode.
Okay, cool. Then we will let you guys go for now, and we will come back and talk more about clothing, and we will talk more about money and status and sexual market value and all that stuff. So this last part of this first part of the book is real good stuff, and I'm enjoying talking about it with you, Dan.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, talk to you soon.
All right, have a good one.
Bye.